The alien ship glided through the atmosphere of Earth, a sleek vessel shimmering under the sun's rays as it descended toward a bustling city below them, a tapestry of life, unfolded vibrant and chaotic, filled with sounds and colors that danced in harmony and discord alike. The crew members stared out through the observation windows, their wide eyes filled with curiosity and wonder as they marveled at the planet's beauty and complexity. As the landing gears touched down, the aliens prepared for first contact. They gathered their data tablets, reviewing their mission objectives to foster understanding between species. Their leader, Zarek, a tall figure with iridescent skin and deep-set eyes, spoke with conviction about the importance of their mission. They were explorers and diplomats, representing a peaceful civilization from the distant galaxy of Nilaris, a place where conflict was a foreign concept. With a gentle hum, the ship's hatch opened, revealing a ramp that extended to the ground. As Zarek led the way, the crew followed closely behind, feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. They stepped onto the surface of this new world, their senses bombarded by the rich scents of food and the vibrant colors of clothing worn by the inhabitants of Earth. The humans around them were bustling about, engaged in conversations, laughter, and activities that felt both familiar and strange. The aliens attempted to communicate through gestures, offering their hands in greeting as they had practiced with their translator devices. Yet the humans responded with mixed reactions, some smiling brightly, while others stared in confusion or suspicion. Zarek's heart raced as he realized that this first interaction was far more complex than he had anticipated. Determined to make a positive impression, they began to explore the city, interacting with street vendors and artisans, showcasing their wares. The vibrant market was filled with tantalizing aromas of exotic foods, the sounds of music drifting from nearby performers, and the colorful displays of art and culture that expressed the rich history of humanity. Zarek felt a sense of wonder as he observed the creativity and diversity of these beings. As the day progressed, they encountered a group of humans who appeared curious about the newcomers. These individuals approached cautiously, their eyes filled with both intrigue and uncertainty. One of them, a young woman, stepped forward with a smile and extended her hand in a gesture of friendship. Zarek's heart soared at the display of goodwill as he mirrored her gesture with his own elongated hand. But just as the atmosphere began to shift toward camaraderie, a loud commotion erupted nearby. A group of individuals emerged from the crowd, shouting and brandishing makeshift weapons. Their faces twisted in anger and fear, they charged toward the aliens, and the friendly humans, caught in the crossfire. Zarek's heart sank as he realized the situation had escalated beyond his control. Instinctively, the aliens formed a protective circle around the humans, their advanced technology ready to defend if necessary. The chaos erupted as the group of attackers lunged forward, shouting words that echoed in the air like thunder. Zarek's mind raced as he processed the scene, watching as fear and hostility unleashed a torrent of violence. In that moment, he felt a wave of confusion wash over him. These beings were so creative and expressive, so capable of joy and love, yet here they were resorting to aggression and fear. The clash left him questioning the nature of humanity and what lay beneath their charming exterior. What secrets did this world hold, and what dangers lurked within the hearts of its inhabitants? As the dust settled, Zarek knew this was only the beginning of their journey on Earth. They had come seeking knowledge and understanding, but now they faced an unforeseen challenge that would test the limits of their diplomacy and the strength of their resolve. He looked into the eyes of his crew, seeing the same mixture of wonder and trepidation mirrored in their expressions. The stakes were higher than they had ever imagined, and their mission was fraught with peril. They had much to learn about these fascinating and dangerous Deathworlders. The chaos settled slowly, the shouts and screams fading into an eerie silence. As the crowd pulled back in shock, Zarek stood at the center of the tumult, his mind racing with the implications of what had just transpired. The aliens had come to Earth with hope and curiosity, but now faced the stark reality of human nature and its complexities. As the dust cleared, he looked at the young woman who had first approached them. Her expression had shifted from welcoming to one of fear and confusion. She took a step back, her hand trembling. As she lowered it, the once vibrant energy of the market now felt heavy and charged with tension. Zarek turned to his crew, who were scanning the crowd with their advanced sensors. The expressions on their faces mirrored his own uncertainty. The harmony they had expected was shattered, revealing the darker undercurrents that flowed through human society. He felt a deepening concern as he realized they needed to regroup and assess the situation carefully. Gathering his team, they retreated to the ship, where they could analyze the event and formulate a new plan. Zarek's mind raced with questions. What motivated the attackers? Why had this encounter turned so violent? Were all humans capable of such aggression? Or was it a specific group acting out of fear or misunderstanding? Inside the ship, the crew gathered around a holographic display projecting the recent events. The images flickered, showing the moment of attack, capturing the expressions of anger and hostility that had defined the encounter. The team exchanged glances filled with apprehension and curiosity. One of the scientists, a brilliant mind named Elira, spoke up, breaking the silence. "We must understand their history, their context," she urged. "We cannot judge an entire species based on a single encounter. There is more to humanity than this violent display." Zarek nodded, absorbing her words. "We must learn to navigate this world with wisdom and caution. We are not just observers, we are participants in their reality, and we must tread carefully." The crew brainstormed ideas for their next steps. They considered reaching out to the human government for assistance, seeking a more structured dialogue. Rather than relying on spontaneous encounters, they needed to build relationships with individuals who could help bridge the cultural divide. Meanwhile, the young woman from the market lingered in Zarek's thoughts. He recalled her bright smile, her eagerness to connect, and the swift change in her demeanor as chaos erupted. It was a reminder that not all humans shared the same mindset, and that the world was filled with diverse perspectives. Determined to make amends, Zarek initiated a plan to return to the market area, but this time with a more strategic approach. They would bring gifts, symbols of peace and friendship. To demonstrate their intentions, they would seek out the young woman and offer an olive branch. As they prepared for their return, the crew outfitted themselves with cultural artifacts and tokens that represented their civilization. They wanted to convey a message of goodwill and understanding, hoping to reassure the humans that they were not a threat. With their hearts pounding, they descended from the ship once more, stepping into the vibrant chaos of the market. Zarek felt a mix of hope and trepidation as they navigated the crowd, searching for the familiar face of the young woman who had extended her hand in friendship. The market buzzed with life around them, yet the undercurrent of tension lingered as whispers traveled among the crowd. Zarek could sense the eyes of the humans upon them, watching, waiting to see how this encounter would unfold. But this time they were armed with knowledge and determination, ready to face whatever came next. They were on a mission to bridge the gap between two worlds and uncover the truth about the fascinating yet dangerous Deathworlders who called this planet home. The market was alive with energy, yet Zarek could feel an undercurrent of wariness in the air as they moved through the crowd. The vibrant stalls and the enticing aromas of street food provided a stark contrast to the tension lingering from their last encounter. As they approached the same spot where the chaos had erupted, Zarek's heart raced with anticipation and anxiety. Scanning the area, he searched for the young woman who had welcomed them before the violence erupted. She had been a beacon of hope, a connection to the humanity that was often obscured by the aggression of the attackers. As he caught sight of her, a wave of relief washed over him. She stood at a distance, watching with cautious eyes, her expression a mixture of curiosity and concern. Gathering his resolve, Zarek stepped forward, gesturing to his crew to follow. He approached her slowly, ensuring that his movements were non-threatening, he raised his hands open in a sign of peace, and spoke in a gentle tone, "We come in peace, we wish to understand and connect." The young woman blinked, taking a step closer, but still keeping her distance. Her eyes flickered with uncertainty, yet he could see a spark of recognition in them. "I remember you," she said, her voice steady despite the surrounding chaos. "What do you want?" "We want to learn about your world," Zarek replied, earnestness in his voice. "We want to build a bridge between our civilizations. We bring gifts as a symbol of our intentions." As he spoke, his crew began to unveil the carefully selected artifacts they had brought from their homeworld, beautiful iridescent stones that shimmered in the sunlight, intricate designs etched into their surfaces representing peace and unity. The crowd began to gather, drawn by the unusual sight, and the palpable tension shifted ever so slightly. The young woman glanced at the stones, her eyes widening in awe. "I have never seen anything like this," before she admitted her wariness, beginning to give way to curiosity. "What do they mean?" "They represent our hope for friendship," Zarek explained, gesturing to the stones. "We have traveled across the stars to learn from you, to share knowledge and experiences. We did not come to harm you, but to understand your ways." As the words hung in the air, the crowd murmured a mix of skepticism and intrigue. Zarek could sense the skepticism still lingering, but also a flicker of interest in some of their eyes. He knew they had a long way to go in changing perceptions, but this was a crucial first step. The young woman took a deep breath, her expression shifting as she stepped forward and reached for one of the stones. The moment her fingers brushed against its surface, a spark of connection ignited between them. Zarek could feel the energy radiating from her curiosity, mingling with the hope he held within. "What is your name?" she asked, her voice softer now. Zarek felt a smile spread across his face. "I am Zarek, and I am honored to meet you." "I am Mira," she replied, her confidence growing as she held the stone aloft. "This is beautiful, Zarek. I want to understand you too." At that moment, the atmosphere shifted as curiosity began to outweigh fear. The crowd leaned in closer, watching as Zarek and Mira began to share stories about their worlds, their voices intertwined as they exchanged laughter and insights, breaking down barriers that had been erected by fear and misunderstanding. Zarek felt a warmth spreading within him as he realized they were making progress together. They began to illustrate the beauty of their cultures, the depth of their histories, and the shared dreams that linked them across the stars. In the distance, Zarek noticed that some of the previous attackers were watching the scene unfold, their expressions revealing a mix of confusion and intrigue. Perhaps they too were beginning to see that the Deathworlders were not the mindless aggressors they had once feared, but beings capable of connection and understanding. As the sun dipped lower, casting a warm golden glow over the market, Zarek felt a sense of hope blossom within him. They were on the precipice of something extraordinary, a chance to change the narrative and redefine the relationship between their worlds. Together with Mira and the crowd, they began to forge a new path forward, a path illuminated by the light of understanding and shared experience. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the bustling market, Zarek felt a growing sense of purpose. He stood alongside Mira, their hands still touching the iridescent stone, a symbol of their newfound connection. Around them, the crowd began to shift from wariness to interest as they listened intently to the stories being shared. Zarek shared tales of his home planet, Nilaris, a place where vibrant colors danced across the sky and harmony reigned among its inhabitants. He described the festivals of light and the unity celebrated among diverse species. Each word painted a vivid picture of a world where conflict was almost unheard of. As he spoke, he noticed how Mira's eyes sparkled with intrigue. In turn, Mira shared the history of Earth, her voice rich with emotion, as she recounted the struggles and triumphs that shaped humanity from its earliest days. She spoke of resilience, the indomitable spirit that emerged in the face of adversity, and the collective effort to overcome challenges. that often seemed insurmountable. Zarek listened intently, fascinated by the depth of human experience, the layers of complexity woven into their stories. As the conversation unfolded, Zarek felt the tension in the air shift further, a palpable curiosity blossoming among the crowd. They began to ask questions, eager to learn more about the alien visitors, what lay beyond the stars, and what it truly meant to be a Deathworlder. Mira acted as a bridge guiding the dialogue, as Zarek answered the inquiries with sincerity and openness. "What is your greatest fear?" one human asked, breaking the ice that had encased their initial interactions. Zarek paused, contemplating the question. He had faced the unknowns of space and the potential dangers of encountering other civilizations, yet his greatest fear was not for himself, but for the misunderstanding that could lead to conflict between their worlds. "My greatest fear," he began, "is that we will be judged solely by the actions of a few instead of being seen as a whole. We come from different places, but our desires for peace and understanding can unite us." Mira nodded, her eyes reflecting the truth in his words. In humanity, she added, there are those who act out of fear, and those who seek connection. It is the choices we make that define us. The crowd murmured in agreement as more individuals began to step forward, sharing their own fears and aspirations. Zarek felt a wave of hope wash over him. They were creating a dialogue, a space where vulnerability could coexist with strength. It was a turning point, a moment that could reshape the narrative of their interaction. As twilight descended, a deeper connection emerged among the participants. Zarek and Mira continued to exchange stories, laughter ringing out as they discovered shared interests and passions. The crowd began to mirror their energy, drawn into the warmth of understanding that filled the air. Amidst the growing camaraderie, Zarek spotted a familiar face in the crowd. One of the previous attackers stood off to the sidearms, crossed a scowl on his face as he observed the unfolding scene. The tension returned for a moment, but Zarek refused to let it dampen their progress. Instead, he turned to Mira and suggested they reach out to him. Mira hesitated, but then nodded, determined. "Let's invite him into the conversation." Zarek approached the man, who eyed him with suspicion, yet there was a flicker of curiosity in his gaze. Zarek extended the same iridescent stone they had shared with others. "This is a symbol of peace," he said. "Our intentions are not to harm, but to understand. Will you join us?" The man hesitated, glancing around as if gauging the reactions of those nearby. Finally, after a tense moment, he stepped forward, his posture still guarded, but the anger in his eyes began to fade. "What do you want from us?" he asked, his voice low. "We want to learn," Zarek replied. "We want to understand your fears and your hopes so that we can find common ground together. We can create something beautiful from this encounter, rather than allowing fear to dictate our actions." The crowd fell silent, watching the exchange as hope hung in the air. Zarek felt a sense of determination welling up inside him. They were standing at the precipice of change, ready to forge a new narrative that transcended fear and division. They were becoming allies in a journey toward understanding and connection, and in that moment, the possibilities felt limitless. The man studied Zarek, his expression shifting as uncertainty played across his features. The crowd remained still, their collective breath held in anticipation as they waited for a response. Zarek could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on them. All this was a chance to turn fear into understanding, to reshape the narrative of their encounter. Finally, the man spoke, his voice steady, but tinged with skepticism. "What if your intentions are not genuine? What if you come here to conquer us instead of connecting?" Zarek could see the vulnerability beneath the bravado, the fear that had driven the earlier aggression. "We come from a place of peace," Zarek replied earnestly. "We seek to learn and share, not to dominate or control. We have faced threats in our own history, but we have chosen to pursue understanding instead of conflict. Our strength lies in our ability to connect with others and to build bridges rather than walls." As he spoke, the crowd began to murmur among themselves. The man glanced around, taking in the faces of his fellow humans who had gathered to witness this pivotal moment. He could see the curiosity and hope reflected in their expressions, and it seemed to soften the hardened lines of his own. Mira stepped forward, breaking the tension with a warm smile. She turned to the man and said, "My name is Mira, and I want to understand your perspective. Your fear is valid, and we want to hear your story. It is through sharing that we can learn to trust each other." The man's gaze shifted from Zarek to Mira. As he processed her words, he took a deep breath and lowered his arms, his posture relaxing slightly. "You want to hear my story?" he asked incredulously. "Yes," Mira replied gently. "We all have stories to share, and understanding begins when we listen to one another." With that, the man hesitated, then began to recount his experiences. His voice was low, but filled with emotion as he spoke of his upbringing, the struggles he faced, and the fears that had shaped his actions. He described a world where trust was scarce and aggression was often a means of survival. Zarek listened intently, absorbing each word, feeling a profound sense of connection forming between them. This man was not just an attacker, but a product of his environment, shaped by the struggles of humanity. He recognized the common threads of fear and hope that wove through their narratives. As the man shared his story, the crowd began to respond with empathy. One by one, they stepped forward to offer their own experiences of hardship and resilience. They spoke of loss and triumph, of moments that defined their humanity, the same struggles that connected them to one another and to the visitors from the stars. Zarek felt a warmth spreading within him. As the stories flowed, the atmosphere shifted from suspicion to solidarity. They were not just humans and aliens, but beings connected by their experiences, a shared existence filled with challenges and aspirations. As night fell, the market transformed into a tapestry of lights and laughter, illuminated by the warmth of newfound connections. Zarek and Mira stood at the center of it all, witnessing the beauty of a dialogue that transcended fear. They realized they were forging a new path, a path built on understanding and collaboration. The man who had once stood as a symbol of hostility now found himself surrounded by allies. He looked at Zarek and Mira, his expression softening as he spoke. "Thank you for hearing my story. Thank you for showing me that we are not so different after all." Zarek nodded, feeling a sense of fulfillment wash over him. "We are all part of this universe, striving for connection. We must continue to share our stories and learn from one another. Together, we can create a future filled with possibility." As they stood together beneath the stars, Zarek felt a sense of hope for the journey ahead. They had faced the shadows of misunderstanding and emerged into the light of connection, and in that moment he knew that they were just beginning to explore the vast potential of their alliance between Deathworlders and the inhabitants of Earth. As the stars twinkled above the market, thrumming with newfound energy, Zarek felt a surge of optimism ripple through the crowd. Their gathering had transformed from a tense encounter into a celebration of connection and shared humanity. Mira stood beside him, her eyes shining with excitement as she surveyed the scene. The once skeptical man who had shared his story now joined the other humans, engaged in animated conversations with Zarek's crew. They were exchanging ideas, exploring cultural differences, and finding common ground. It was a lively exchange, filled with laughter and curiosity that echoed through the night air. Zarek sensed that this was only the beginning. He turned to Mira and proposed we should create a series of challenges, an exchange of skills to deepen our understanding of one another. Let us celebrate our strengths and learn from our differences. Mira's face lit up with enthusiasm. "I love that idea. It will allow us to showcase our abilities and foster teamwork." The crowd nearby overheard their conversation and began to murmur with interest. "What kind of challenges did you have in mind?" a young human asked eagerly. Zarek smiled, feeling the excitement in the air. "We could start with a series of physical challenges to test our abilities. Then we can move to creative endeavors like art and music, showcasing what makes us unique." The crowd buzzed with anticipation as the idea took hold. They began to brainstorm potential challenges, everything from races to art contests and culinary competitions that would highlight the diverse talents of both species. The energy in the air felt electric as they began to envision the possibilities. As plans took shape, Zarek could see the initial apprehension fading away. He was heartened to witness how quickly the humans were embracing the idea of cooperation and celebration. It was a testament to their capacity for connection, despite the earlier tensions that had clouded their first encounter. Over the next few days, they organized the challenges, each event designed to bring together the strengths of both worlds. Zarek and Mira worked tirelessly to ensure that every participant felt valued and included. They wanted to create an environment where fear was replaced by excitement and where collaboration flourished. The day of the first challenge arrived with bright sunlight illuminating the bustling market. The atmosphere was charged with enthusiasm as humans and aliens gathered to participate. Each event was met with cheers and laughter as they cheered each other on. The physical challenge involved an obstacle course designed to test agility, strength, and teamwork. Zarek watched as groups formed, naturally humans and aliens working side by side, tackling the course with a blend of laughter and determination. The obstacles were both familiar and foreign, creating a delightful sense of camaraderie as they encouraged one another. Next came the creative challenge, where participants showcased their artistic skills. They set up booths for painting, music, and storytelling. Zarek marveled at the diverse expressions of creativity emerging as humans shared their rich traditions, while his crew introduced elements of Nilarian art and music. The mingling of styles created a tapestry of sound and color that filled the air with joy. As the day unfolded, Zarek witnessed the barriers of misunderstanding crumble further. The challenges sparked conversations, laughter, and genuine connections between participants. He could see the spark of friendship igniting as individuals shared their passions, their fears, and their dreams. By the time the sun began to set, the market had transformed into a vibrant celebration of unity and diversity. Zarek and Mira stood together, surveying the scene, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. They had accomplished something remarkable. They had turned a moment of fear into a festival of connection and collaboration. As night fell, the festivities continued beneath the glow of colorful lights and stars. Zarek turned to Mira and said, "This is only the beginning. We have so much more to explore together, so many stories yet to tell." Mira smiled, her heart swelling with hope. "Yes, together we can build a future where understanding flourishes and fear is replaced by friendship." Zarek felt a renewed sense of purpose surging through him as he realized the potential of this alliance. The Deathworlders had shown their resilience and strength, and now they were paving the way for a future filled with possibilities waiting to be discovered together. As the night deepened, the festivities continued to flourish under a canopy of stars. Zarek felt a profound sense of connection among the gathered crowd. The laughter and joy that filled the air were a testament to the bonds being forged between humans and aliens alike. They had come together in a way that transcended their differences and celebrated their shared humanity. Yet, amidst the laughter, Zarek was aware that their journey was far from complete. A shadow lingered in the back of his mind, the knowledge that not everyone would welcome this newfound alliance. There were those who thrived on fear and division, and he could sense that they would not remain silent for long. As the celebration continued, Mira approached Zarek, her expression thoughtful. "We need to prepare for any challenges that may arise," she said softly. "We cannot ignore the fact that there are still those who harbor distrust and anger." Zarek nodded, acknowledging her concerns. "You are right. We must be ready to address any hostility that may emerge from those who resist our efforts. We need to ensure that our alliance is fortified, not just by understanding, but by strength." Together, they devised a plan to address potential threats. They decided to hold a series of meetings inviting both humans and aliens to participate in discussions about their values, hopes, and fears. They would create an open forum where concerns could be voiced and addressed, fostering an environment of transparency and trust. As the days passed, they began to implement their plan. The first meeting was held in the heart of the market where the festival had taken place. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as both humans and aliens gathered to share their thoughts. Zarek stood before the crowd, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He welcomed everyone and encouraged open dialogue, emphasizing the importance of addressing concerns directly. He spoke about their shared experiences and the need to confront fears together. As he spoke, a man from the crowd stood up, his expression filled with skepticism. "I still don't understand why we should trust you. What guarantees do we have that you won't turn against us?" Zarek felt a rush of determination. He replied, "We cannot guarantee that every individual will act with goodwill, but we can promise to work together to build a foundation of trust. We are here to listen to your concerns, and to share our own. We want to understand the roots of your fears." The crowd murmured in response, some nodding, while others remained skeptical. But Zarek pressed on, inviting anyone with concerns to share their thoughts. He wanted to create a safe space where vulnerability could lead to understanding. As the discussion unfolded, individuals began to voice their apprehensions. Some spoke of past experiences with outsiders. Others expressed fear of the unknown. Zarek listened intently, taking mental notes as he absorbed their fears and the stories that lay behind them. Mira stepped forward to support him. Her voice was steady and compassionate. "We understand that trust takes time. It is not something that can be built overnight, but we are committed to earning that trust. We are not here to impose our ways, but to learn and grow together." As the discussions continued, a woman from the crowd raised her hand. "I want to understand how we can work together. What does that look like in practical terms?" Zarek felt a surge of hope at her question. He knew this was an opportunity to shift the focus. From fear to collaboration, he outlined ideas for joint initiatives that could benefit both civilizations, such as cultural exchanges, educational programs, and community projects that would foster deeper connections. The crowd began to engage more actively, brainstorming ideas and solutions that could address their concerns. While skepticism still lingered, there was a growing sense of camaraderie forming among participants. They were beginning to see each other not as threats, but as partners in a shared journey. As the meeting drew to a close, Zarek felt a sense of accomplishment. The dialogue had opened pathways to understanding and connection that had previously seemed impossible. The alliance was evolving, and with it the hope for a brighter future filled with collaboration and mutual respect. Together, they had confronted the shadows of fear and misunderstanding, and in doing so they were building a foundation that would withstand the challenges that lay ahead. Zarek looked around at the faces in the crowd and saw not just humans and aliens, but allies united in their quest for a better tomorrow. As the final meeting concluded, the atmosphere was charged with a sense of possibility. Zarek felt a wave of gratitude wash over him as he looked at the diverse faces in the crowd. Humans and aliens alike were sharing ideas and building connections that had once seemed unimaginable. The path they had forged was one of unity and understanding. In the days that followed, the initiatives they had discussed began to take shape. They organized cultural exchanges where humans and aliens could share their traditions, arts, and cuisines. Zarek watched as the market transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, sounds, and flavors. The blending of cultures created an atmosphere of excitement and discovery. The first event showcased culinary delights where chefs from both species collaborated to create unique dishes that reflected their histories. Zarek was amazed as he tasted a fusion of Nilarian spices with earth ingredients. The flavors danced on his palate, igniting a sense of joy and camaraderie that transcended their differences. Meanwhile, Mira took the lead in organizing art workshops, where participants could express themselves through painting, music, and storytelling. The creativity that emerged was nothing short of breathtaking as humans and aliens painted side-by-side laughter filled the air, and the barriers of misunderstanding continued to dissolve. One evening, as Zarek wandered through the market, he came across a group gathered around a storyteller who wove tales of adventure and heroism from both worlds. The stories captured the imagination of everyone present, illustrating the shared values of bravery and resilience that linked them together. Yet amidst the celebrations, Zarek remained aware of the undercurrents of skepticism that still existed. He knew that their alliance was still fragile, and that vigilance was necessary to protect the progress they had made. As they celebrated the bonds they had forged, it was crucial to remain proactive in addressing any lingering fears. One day, Zarek and Mira decided to meet with community leaders from both species. They invited them to discuss the ongoing challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. They wanted to ensure that every voice was heard, and that their partnership continued to strengthen. As they gathered around a table laden with food and drinks, Zarek felt a sense of hope fill the room. Leaders from both sides engaged in open dialogue, expressing their thoughts and concerns. They discussed how to build trust within their communities and address any potential threats from those who still resisted change. A leader from the human side voiced her concerns. What if we encounter those who do not wish for this alliance to succeed? How do we handle those who thrive on fear and division? Zarek took a deep breath, contemplating the question. We must remain united in our commitment to understanding. We cannot let the actions of a few define our journey together. We can confront any challenges that arise and demonstrate the strength of our alliance through our actions. Mira added, it is essential to continue fostering opportunities for collaboration. We must show our communities that our differences can be strengths that contribute to a richer, more vibrant existence for all. As the discussions continued, Zarek felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were no longer just two separate worlds, but a unified entity ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The meeting concluded with a shared commitment to continue nurturing their alliance, to engage with those who still held reservations, and to spread the message of hope and unity. As they left the meeting, Zarek and Mira exchanged a glance filled with determination. They had come so far, and yet they knew their journey was just beginning. Together, they would navigate the complexities of their alliance, confronting fears and celebrating triumphs. As night fell over the market, the stars shone brightly above them, a reminder of the vast universe they shared with each step they took toward a brighter future. Zarek felt a deep sense of gratitude for the connections forged through their shared stories and experiences. The Deathworlders and Earth had not just begun a journey of understanding, but had opened the door to a legacy of collaboration that would echo through the stars for generations to come.